Hello, all you hardcores out there. How you doing? It's Big P here. Look who we've got here. It's Big Ron. He's back. Big Ron Raw. How's it going?
All right, Russ. Very well, thank you.
Where am we?
I'm sat here in the hotel in sunny Jersey. The weather, clear blue skies. It's a bit fresh, but it's beautiful. And I hear it's really cold back there. I mean, it's not summer here, but it's usually about 5 degrees warmer here, which makes a massive difference, doesn't it, at this time of year?
Oh, massive. There's some boxing on tonight, Dennis.
Is there?
Yeah, obviously the Sky have got a lot of rubbish on at the beginning, but they've got React Porte and Glowacki. They're going at it. Well, how do you see that one going?
I like Riakpo, and I think he's got some star quality, but I don't think he's unbeatable. But I like him. I think he's good on the eye, brings it, and really the cruiserweight divisions is quite hot in the UK. And if the politics, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, weren't such, there'd be some great matchups. And that's some of the things that we were working on. But it wasn't to be, or isn't to be. And it's a shame because, like I said, it's some good matchups. But, you know, politics has historically got involved in boxing, and certain good fights aren't made, and it's a shame.
What do you see happening with It's Big Fraser against Kevin Inspindola, Fraser Clark?
Fraser, I like Fraser. I think he's a specimen. I think he's got plenty of ability. I like him as a person. I think he's got a great attitude, and I want him to do really well. Obviously he's not really tested yet. And he won't be because he hasn't been a pro for that long, and maybe some people think he stayed in the amateurs too long, but I don't know. I think it's opening up. You know, you've got Tyson, you've got Deontay, you've got Usyk, then you've got the juggernaut Joe Joyce. But you know, how many fights have they got left? And then you've got Fraser, the next thing coming through. He's part of the next batch coming through, and obviously there's going to be. There's a couple of good Americans coming through, Russ. The names escape me, but there's one or two good kids, and you know that the Americans won't be sitting on their hands. They'll be looking for the next heavyweight. They don't like not having the heavyweight champion of the world, and we've been at the top of the tree for this era now in the UK, especially with Joshua and Tyson, and obviously Usyk's took AJ's crown, but Tyson is the top of the tree, and that you know, we're flying the flag. He's flying the flag for the UK, and it sits us well in boxing terms, and we should all be feeding off that because we've got the best man on the planet. The best fighter on the planet. When you've got the heavyweight champion of the world, so we've got that. And like I say, all the other stuff and all the other divisions, we should be getting their profile up higher on the back of that and flying the flag and beating the drum together. But as always happens, I'm afraid politics gets involved and people get greedy.
Yeah, what do you think to that Moses Atomu, Dennis?
I haven't seen much of him, to be honest, Russell. I can't really comment. So it'd be wrong for me to comment. Obviously, I've had some internal stuff going off over the last few months, and we've rebooted Fight Zone. We're on the right track now. We've got, obviously, with me and Steve Trump at the helm, but we've got our accountants, Graham Hinchcliffe, who's come on board and structured it. We've still got the likes of John Annan there, and we've got Degesh helping on the technical side. Paul Green does as production, and then we've got Lydia and Lindsay on board. So the team, and obviously we've got our matchmaker in the boxing, Noel Callan. The team's looking good now. We've got rid of people who didn't do what it said on the tin, which I'm sure we'll talk about, who's badly let us down, and people who's obviously been dishonourable. But, you know, more fool them, because they probably thought they were just going to pick up, you know, the fine weather while they pick up what they could during the fine weather. And obviously during the COVID, we were everybody's friend, putting shows on, giving people work and signing kids to contracts, well, supposedly contracts, and giving people work and putting money in the pocket, taking money out of our pockets to invest in a lot of kids. But the one good thing what we have done, we've built a subscription base up, and we've built a profile and a brand up in Fight Zone, which is known worldwide. So you know, there's a lot of positives to take out of some of these negatives, Russ.
Yeah. Hey, you've got Terry on board as well.
Terry Chapandana is a class act. Him. You know what? They were an old actor, and he used to do voiceovers. You know, like it might be in a cartoon, or it might be a character, or he used to be a storyteller. Fantastic actor called James Mason, and he got a fantastic voice. You don't have to see Terry. His voice is, I think, he's captivating, and obviously he's got a fantastic brain. But what a voice, and how knowledgeable is the fella. I mean, he obviously is very successful in his career, in what he does, but he loves this game, and he loves this game, which is boxing, which is, you know, we call it a game, even though it's a serious business and it's a serious event whenever kids get into the ring. But he loves the sport, but he wants it to be done in the right manner and put together in the right manner. And he has an opinion, and a very valid opinion, you know, like you do. But you know, you haven't got as much filter as Terry, obviously. But I do rate that kid, and he's become a friend now. But I think he's come out of respect for each other, I think, Russ.
Yeah. He's a good guy, Terry. He's a good guy.
I think he's a class act. I just rate it. And I like his knowledge. And if I didn't, you know, I'm a bit like you. I'm not as unfiltered as you, but I'm not saying I'd be polite to him, but I do absolutely rate the fella. I think he's very knowledgeable, and like I say, his voice to get it over is a class act. He's a great package.
Yeah. On to the next fight on list. Joseph Parker against Jack Massey, Dennis. They've done well to get there, haven't they?
One smack Jack. They've done well. How do you mean they've done well?
Well, obviously,
have they done well?
There's people are going to say there's two sides to every coin. They're going to say they've got there within the rules, aren't they? But they haven't, have they really?
They've done it in a way that I wouldn't do it, and there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, and they've done it the wrong way. And like happens, you know, like with Hobson and people like that, they play the victim. But the only reason I fall out with these kind of people is if they've wronged us. And you know, there were some discrepancies with Hobson, what was allegedly discrepancies, and Ricky had the same with him, and they played a victim. Now I think Jack and Kev Marie are trying to play the victim here, and they're fabricating the truth by saying he's never refused a fight. That is absolutely what they call him, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
You know what his favorite film was?
Liar.
So it's not true. Speak to Pat Barrett, speak to Matchroom, speak to the Polish promoter, and is it Andrzejewski? I forgot his second name, but like, you know, they've been offered fights. Speak to Mark Dunlop. They've been offered fights, so it's a total lie. They've knocked these fights back. So you know, it will all unfold when we get into this legal nitty gritty. It's not a fight I would have taken for him. Through all my hard work at the IBO, it caused me to have not the best dialogue with the IBO over the last 6 months. And again, I'm really well with Ed Levine, but I kept fighting his case, and he ended up getting himself stripped of the title. What I'd invested in, me and Steve had invested in, and me maneuvered him into that position when he's number 46 in the world, Russell. It was on the shelf, and I get him an IBF European, get him rated at number 6. Nobody else would have done that, or they would have already done it. Why didn't Kev Marie do it, or his partner Frank Duffin? Why didn't they do it? Nobody else did it for him but me. But it costs us money.
Yeah.
And what they want to do is just, oh, thank you very much, see you later. Now, Terry and yourself, it comes down to common sense. If you invest in something, what is an investment? What does that mean, Russell?
Means you want a return on it.
So would you just go outside, say you've got £1,000 now in your pocket, would you just open the door and just throw £1,000 out into the wind?
No.
So that's it, basically. And no matter how they wrap it up, they've wronged us. They've wronged us at Fight Academy and at Fight Zone, and they're trying to play the victim. They're wrong. No matter who says that's boxing or whatever, and I would have done the same. No, I wouldn't have done the same. I've never done the same. I've never shafted anybody like that. I've got them there. My track record speaks for itself, Russ, without me blowing my own trumpet.
Yeah.
I've been in the game. I've been promoting, is it 30 years? And I've took kids who aren't supposed to get there. And Jack become one of them because he was on the shelf. Nobody, and he was getting forgot about. Kev Marie spoke to Jason McClory, who was our matchmaker at the time, head of boxing at the time, and who's badly, sadly let us down, who was a friend, and absolutely another one who absolutely sold us down the river. And but me and Steve believed in him, but we were friends with him because, and we looked after him because he's not the healthiest kid in the world. But absolutely not fit for purpose. And really his time were up, but we kept him going for a lot longer, but he didn't repay our faith in him. And Kevin Marie took advantage of that. And that's the reason we are where we are. We're such a Jack Massey. I mean, I get on really well. I had a really nice rapport with Jack's family, his mum, his dad, his girlfriend. I thought they were lovely people. Because at the time I wasn't living too far away from them, near Buxton, and I wanted to go and call around for a cup of tea and just because they know I'm a family man, and I got the same vibe from them. But I think like a few kids out there, they get in their head turned by such as Kevin, who's for me is a bit of a Svangale. That means that snake on Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Trust me, he manages to get a lot of kids to trust him, and he's a good talker and he wins people over. But he's not the full package because he hasn't got my bottle as regards going out there and making things happen. And people go, but he's got plenty of dough. I started with a wheelbarrow, more or less. The reason I've got on and been successful in business, and I'm not the most successful, I'm not the richest man on the planet, but the reason I'm successful is because I've had a go. I take a chance. I'm a gambler. You
said you started with a tranny van.
Well, it were a tranny van, but I'm saying as a wheelbarrow,
yeah.
more or less a wheelbarrow, but it were a tranny van. I sold the ground to buy a transit pickup, actually. It were a pickup, an old pickup, a wooden back on it, Russ.
Yeah.
Slave cylinder had gone, and I need to have enough money to buy a slave cylinder. So I used to go down to all the old MOT stations and take all their old brake fluid and clutch fluid and keep topping it up and have a milk bottle in the cab as it were running down, because as it were running down, I used to have to pump the brake, and sometimes the brake had gone, I had to pull it up with the handbrake. But needs must. And And you know, I've done it the hard way, but I've took a chance, and you know, you know, there's a lot of people like me who takes chances, but there's a lot that don't. There's more that don't, and that's why people like Peter Fury, who's done stuff the hard way, but very honourable people, and I like to count myself in that category. And I'd rather lose money than shaft you. And that's what I've done in the past, and that's why people want to do business with me. Proper people.
Yeah. I see what you mean. How do you see fight panning out between him and Parker?
Well, like I say, I'm torn. Some people had said to me, oh, I bet you hope he gets chinned. And it was like when Hatton fought Mayweather, and part of me wanted him to do a number, and I really did deep down want him to do a number on Mayweather, but I knew he shouldn't have fought Mayweather. And I've got the same sort of feeling with Jack, because I have got a soft spot for Jack, Russ.
Yeah.
Because I'm not bitter and twisted, and I'll move on. We've got some smashing things in the pipeline. But I was looking forward to the journey with Jack, but somebody's got in the way, and obviously Jack's part of that as well, because if he'd have said to his manager, and really the one thing that I should have done from the start, I should have co-managed Jack, not Kevin Marie, because I'm the only one, me and Steve's the only ones putting our hand in his pocket, and I make things happen. What's happened is because of my fallout with Ben Shalom, it's helped Kevin's case, because they think they're having one over on me. Well, let's see where we go legally, because Ben's got quite a bit of stuff coming his way, apparently, from Matchroom. The board's been informed. I've got different instances where he's tapped people up, tapped fighters up from our side, and obviously this is one of them. And you know, they think they've been successful. Well, your Ben Shaloms, they've come and gone before. He's got an amazing machine behind him, which is the best at the moment. It's the best machine in the world. The Sky platform is fantastic.
Yeah.
So your Reggie and Ruby could do that job. Well, Reggie could with his eyes closed, because Reggie's a smart kid.
Yeah.
He's smarter than you, Russ.
I know. But he's had a touch there though, Ben, hasn't he?
Had a touch. He's fell in his arms, but he's a privileged kid, innit? He hadn't lived in a little caravan and had it hard like you've had to hustle your way. And I'm talking about me, you, Peter, people like, and a lot of kids we know. But the one thing is, where I am here, I'm looking out to a beautiful view, clear blue skies. I'm on the coast here in Jersey. I've got an amazing home. But guess what? I've done it all myself, and my family's proud. I'm proud of them, and we've got a nice carry on. But going back to boxing, is I take them same principles into boxing, where if I shake your hand, I'm old school. If I shake your hand, we're on. But obviously that doesn't appertain in boxing. You have to get things written in writing. Jason, who was our head of boxing, was in that position to execute these contracts, and through whatever reasons, whether it was manufactured by himself, Kev Marie, and the likes of Sam Kinnock, who's managed to renege on these agreements that we sat down with. Jason didn't cover our backside with these executed contracts, and now we're paying the price to a degree. But going back to the Massey contract, that is, as far as I'm concerned, it's still valid. They're saying they're lying by saying they've not knocked fights back. Well, I've got witnesses and I've got written evidence that they have. So why come out and tell an untruth? Because they've no shame. So the kids who sign with them, good luck, because I know we were signing kids. Frank Duffin told me we're signing kids. You've got to sign me as your manager if you want to get on Fight Zone. This is when we first kicked off. So he trebled his stable on the back of Fight Zone. If you ask Frank Duffin, if he tells the truth, he'll tell you that. Sam Kinnock, because I had calls from up in Scotland saying Sam Kinnock were going around signing kids on the back of Fight Zone. I'm the only way you're going to get on Fight Zone. Now they've got a stable, they've got a platform, they've gone for what they think of me to your bone and not wanted to be honourable and let us get a bit of investment back. So, you know, you live and learn. Like I said, we've still, the positives are we've got a brand in Fight Zone. We've got some good kids still under our wing. I'm going to be at least managing or co-managing a lot of these kids because that's the only way I think you get a little bit more security and they have to be honourable, and then you don't get, you know, some of these snaky managers don't get a chance to manoeuvre. So that's the way it is. That's where it's going to be. And if anybody wants to come on board, they have to do it that way. We're working with Stephen Vaughan, who's putting one or two smashing events together. We signed 2 or 3 kids together, and that's looking very rosy. So we've got some great what's the word, acquisitions, if you like, as regards making us stronger, and some great team members now, partners, who's going to make us stronger. Our accountant Graham Inchcliffe is adding a lot more structure to it. We've got his own production with Paul Green, who's put all that together, who's very well connected and does a smashing job, and a lovely fella to work with. So it's almost done in a full circle. I went from 6 months ago, I started not to enjoy the game, Russ, for the first time in my life.
Yeah,
I wasn't enjoying it. And now I've got a bit of a spring in my step again, because apart from all these silly politics, which it will play out the way how it does, however way it plays out. Like I said, right's right, wrong's wrong. Massey and Marie are wrong. They're wrong-uns, they're wrong people for doing what they're trying to do. Hopefully it gets corrected. But it's a shame, because I wanted to enjoy the journey with Jack. I hope he doesn't get hurt tonight. But I think they could be biting off more than he can chew, and that's putting it mildly.
yeah, he's not been with anybody as seasoned as Parker, has he?
No, not at all. And you know, if he hadn't been in with Joe Joyce, and you've seen how much bottle he threw everything at Joyce, and if he hadn't been in with such a juggernaut, and that is so apt, that name, that kept coming and walking through anything he could throw, he'd have stopped many a kid on that night, would Parker. So as long as he hasn't took absolutely everything out of him, it should be too big for Jack. And I just wonder, and this is the sort of mentality they've got me thinking, is that they're just cashing in, and which is a very, very dangerous thing to do.
He'll get 6 fights off back of losing tonight, him.
No, but you're playing with somebody's health, Russell. I mean, Jack's, I think he's going to be a dad, and bless him, because, you know, his family I really got on well with his family. I don't wish him ill health, and I think this potentially, all the you know, it could pay off, but the odds are against him, and I just hope he doesn't get badly hurt. If he does get beat, which I think he will, I hope he don't get badly beat, and it affects his health, because that's what.
And it better for you, Dennis, if he wins?
Well, probably is, but it's not the route I would have gone. You know, if we were going to move up to heavyweight like Kevin Lorena did, and really that I can't still work that fight out with Dubois. I think what Kevin needed, what Jack needed to do were have a couple of fights at heavyweight, which I'd have, you know, like I was going to do with David A until they walked away and did their own thing. But but as put him in with a couple of season heavyweights, and you grow into the weights. Like when I moved Clinton up to light heavy. Now I took a chance when he fought Crawford, but the opportunity and the chance was that Crawford was really struggling at the weight, and he was coming to the end of his career. So the timing was brilliant. But normally I'd have took an extra 1 or 2 more fights. Clinton I think he had 1 or 2 fights before Crawford at light heavy, and then went in for the British, Commonwealth and European. But it were a chance worth taking, because Crawford had got a couple of rounds in him. If you speak to him, he said, I've got a couple of rounds in me. And he nearly, well, anybody else, he would have got him out of there, apart from Clinton, who got a massive heart and a granite chin. But then Clinton broke him down. But then Clinton grew and grew into the light heavyweight division. Well, Jack isn't giving himself that. He's stepping straight up. And let's be honest, he's not a Usyk, is he?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So he's not the most difficult kid to hit. You've only got to look at his ultra. So he's and for me, Joseph Parker's accurate as well, and he's going in with a fella maybe 2 stone heavier, and Parker isn't a fat heavyweight. He's a lean, strong, bigger man, and naturally bigger man. So for me, it's not the smartest thing to do. They're taking a chance. It might, if it comes off, they'll be, see, we did this, but, and it might come off because, you know, he's got 2 arms and 2 legs. And if Parker's, you know, sell by date's gone, then Massey's got a chance. But the odds are stacked against him. And for me, it's not a gamble worth taking, because at heavyweight division, and like I say, he's not the most difficult kid to hit. Is you're playing with his health. You're playing with somebody's health here, and I don't like things like that. You've seen what I did with Clinton Woods when he fought Roy Jones, and when, you know, there'd been other fights when Ross the Boss, when he pulled out with an injury. He's you know, they're going in there and they're relying on people like me and their trainers. It's like when Reece Cartwright, I was fuming at the referee. I wasn't happy with Joe Pennington for not stopping the fight against Dan Aziz. But Reece wanted to fight on, and I love Joe to bits. But I wouldn't have let him go out for that last round. And I was fuming with the referee because I care, Russ.
Yeah.
You know, I know what it's like to get up the steps. I only had 2 or 3 amateur fights, but I'd spar with anybody. And I know what it's like to get it on the end of the nose, but obviously I know how to dish it out as well. So, and I have kids in sparring and stuff like that, and it's a great feeling when you fight and you put kids on the deck and stuff like that. But at the same time, I won't want to hurt anybody's health. I won't want to damage anybody's health. Now they're playing with that kid's health tonight, I think.
Yeah. What about Echo Assuzman and Chris Conger for British and Commonwealth and IBF European welter?
I think it's a good fight.
Yeah. It's a good fight. I think he's a good kid, Conger.
I do. I think he's been hanging about waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Has it been waiting to happen for a bit too long? I don't know. But Mo Pryor had him a few years ago, and he were hoping to do big things with him. And it's a shame that Mo is not involved with him, because I always wanted Mo to go on and win something on the world scene, because he's another one who puts his money where his mouth is, Mo. So I've got a lot of respect for him. And you know, I'd like people like Mo to have. I mean, he once said, "I want to do what you've done, Dennis. I want to have world champions." Well, he deserves it. And yeah, maybe I might have got that little bit of magic touch to maneuver people into right positions at the right time. But you know, people like Mo deserve a bit of glory, because they've put the time, the money, and their effort into it. And I'd like him to win something big. And that's why I'm still hungry to win things big. You know, I'm working with Anna Rankin, and me and Noel, we're working on 1 or 2 things for Anna. I do believe sometime this year should be another world champion. She didn't get it right against Terry Harper, but guess what? We bring them back. We bring them back, and we learn from it, and we go on and benefit from it, become a better fighter, and go and win big again. And I think that's what's going to happen with Anna. So she's a great example to put. I've done it with Clinton. I've done it with Jamie McDonald, Stuart Hall. You know, I did it with Carl Thompson. I've done it with a lot. You know my CV, and even doing something at, you know, British, Commonwealth, European. They've got something I haven't got. So to win something, you know, like even, you know, we joke with Ross the Boss, but he were a European champ. He were a WBA European champion, wasn't he?
WBO European.
Yeah, and so like that's massive for him. He died his heart on that. You know, he come to me, and if you think about it, you know, all these people say, yeah, but they're doing the fighting. Well, yeah, and I could keep saying it. Some kids put their life on the line for an area title. You know, that's another big thing, an area title. But I managed to maneuver these kids onto the world scene, and we've won big with kids who maybe are only domestic. Many people said to me, it was Clinton, probably domestic British level. Well, I managed to maneuver him onto the world scene. I loved and respected him. And obviously, when I was speaking to a fellow here, Gary Simkis, who's big pals with Glenn Catley. Glenn Catley won the WBC, didn't earn a fraction of what Clinton did. Not a fraction. And he had the WBC belt. So, you know, I can look at myself with people like Clinton and say, what a job I did with him. You've been to his house, he's got a beautiful house, and he's got plenty of assets. He's sat pretty. He's financially secure, and I've helped him do that. And I'm proud of what we've done. And that's what I do. And until I decide to hang my gloves up or my boots up or whatever you want to call it, I'll keep doing that, Russ. If I believe in somebody, I'll help maneuver him. And you know, but I'm trying to keep my circle small now. And you know, the sort of people I respect. And when I talk about, you know, you asked me about, for example, I'm just pulling something out. Joshua, what does he do to win a world title? I said, not just because Peter's my dear friend. If he's serious, if I were Joshua, if I'm serious, I want to be. It's not just a technical side to what just Peter. It's the winning mentality, and having that and testing yourself to see if you have got that teakness about you, to see if you still got it, to be able to dig deep. Because when you get at that top level, a championship level, you're going to be asked questions. So before you enter that ring, you've got to be asked questions of yourself. And somebody like Peter, I'm just using Peter as an example. I know he would, if I were a heavyweight now, he would test me and I'd know if I'd got it or not. So, and so them's the sort of people I want to be working with, proper people who are in it for the right reasons. Peter's a very successful businessman in his own right. Successful in my own right. But winners, our thing is we like to win. We're addicted to the winning game. That's what we are. And that's what then them the sort of people I want to associate with. Not people I've had so many, and you've seen them, Russell. I know we've had our spats, but you've seen how many people ride on my back and then wanting to play the victim. You've seen it. You're not silly. You've seen a lot of these, and you've gone, Dennis, why do you stand for him? Why do you? And I go, Russell, all you do is slag everybody off. But 90% of them people you've slagged off, you were right about. Miss Moneypenny is. She tells me. And I go, yeah, but I'm a sucker for a sob story, aren't I?
Miss Moneypenny will be there while she's 70.
Yeah, and still a spinster.
Yeah. Beefy and Eubank, Dennis, last 3 minutes. Who's going to win?
I think Eubanks. I don't like what Beefy. I think he spoiled that press conference when he went on about gay and stuff like that. Listen, there's too much of all this trans and gay and stuff out there at the moment, but don't bring that into it. It's a bit. It's like using the race card. it's a bit pathetic. Don't you cheap digs at somebody, and I think on the coolness, the experience, strength, freshness, I think Eubanks.
Yeah, I think Eubank as well. Okie dokie then. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Dennis. Have a great Saturday, and I'll speak to you soon.
Sheffield Wednesday going into the championship this year. Watch out. We're back. We're on our way back.
All right, peace out.
Love to your family, pal.